لا ضويت الأوديو. السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته. الحمد لله الذي خلق السماوات والأرض وجعل الظلمات والنور ثم الذين كفروا بربهم يعدلون وأشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وحده لا شريك له وأشهد أن محمدًا عبده ورسوله بشر وأنذر لا خير إلا دل الأمة عليه ولا شر إلا حذرها منه فصلى الله وسلم وبارك على نبينا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه ومن اهتدى بهداه إلى يوم الدين. نسأل الله جل وعلا أن يبصرنا بالحق وأن يمن علينا بالالتزام به والثبات عليه حتى يتوفانا وهو راض عنا. اللهم إنا نسألك علما نافعا وقلبا خاشعا وعملا متقبلا. اللهم اجعل تجمعنا هذا تجمعا مرحوما وتفرقنا من بعده تفرقا معصوما ولا تجعل فينا شقيا ولا محروما. All praise is due to Allah. We praise Him. We seek His assistance. We seek His tawfiq. We pray to Him subhanahu wa ta'ala to teach us that which is beneficial to us and to give us the tawfiq to apply it. فَإِنَّهُ مَنْ يُرِدِ اللَّهُ بِهِ خَيْرًا يُفَقِّهُ فِي الدِّينِ. اللهم فقهنا في الدين. اللهم لا علم لنا إلا ما علمتنا إنك أنت العليم الحكيم. اللهم علمنا ما ينفعنا وانفعنا بما علمتنا وزدنا علما. Tonight is the night of the 12th of Sha'ban of the year 1439 since Hijrat al-Nabi sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, which translates into April the 28th of the Gregorian calendar 2018. I pray to Allah Azza wa Jal to make this night a blessed night and to make all the brothers and sisters who are attending with us physically in this masjid, Masjid al-Huda, or those who might be tuning in live, to make them mubarakeen, blessed in themselves and in their families. And may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala keep giving us the tawfiq to sit around this majlis al-ilm, majlis al-dhikr of Allah tabaraka wa ta'ala, which is attended by the angels, and the mercy of Allah Azza wa Jal showers these majalis. And may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala keep guiding us and keep giving us tawfiq. And may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala give us the tawfiq to do the best we can during the month of Ramadan, which is almost upon us. Allahumma ameen. Without further ado, a few logistics, if you wish, real quick, inshallah, we'll get them out of the way. By the way, we have those two chairs. I think we should buy more of these, inshallah. They help, I guess. I'm going to talk to the masjid and see how we can actually bring more, but in a way that they stay in the masjid. They don't change ownership. No. By all means, go ahead and use them. That's one. Second, unfortunately, it saddens me. As much as I hate to skip those halaqah, And you know that very rarely do we actually skip them. But unfortunately, I'm going to need to cancel next week. I won't be able to make it, unfortunately. So that would literally leave us with one more halaqah before Ramadan. Just before Ramadan. But inshallah, I think this will allow us to finish this topic of qadar of Allah Tabaraka wa Ta'ala. I'm not going to start anything new because there will be a long break, obviously, during the month of Ramadan. So we'll start the next topic after Ramadan. But I think this will allow us to have a sound understanding of al-qadar, which is a very important topic as we've seen. With that said, I'm going to be also opening the door for a lot of questions. I know the last couple of weeks we didn't have too much opportunity to ask questions. So now we have a little bit of time, so we're going to open the door for anybody to ask questions. One more thing is, so next week there's no halaqah next Saturday. The following Saturday will be the last one before Ramadan, and we're going to have a dinner before Ramadan, inshallah. Is that okay, Brother Mushtaba? You came late. I wanted to discuss with you, but you didn't come on time, so it's your mistake. Inshallah. You give the green light? Khalas. Okay. So inshallah, in 2 weeks' time, 2 Saturdays from now, we will have dinner between Asr and Maghrib. So we'll have the halaqah as usual between Maghrib and Isha, and we will have the dinner between Asr, after Asr until Maghrib, inshallah. I do hope to see all of you, inshallah. Please join us. Bring your families. As you know, there are a lot of sisters who attend. Let's get together, get to know one another, inshallah, and share food, bi'idhnillahi ta'ala. Now, fadal.
Maybe we can have the Ramadan special on that week.
We can. I think we might have time. Yes, inshallah. Maybe we can squeeze a little bit of, just a few thoughts about Ramadan. Sure, inshallah ta'ala. That's a good suggestion, bi'idhnillahi ta'ala. Typically, as you've seen, we typically bring food. We buy food from restaurants, but I'd like this time to actually do it in a way to actually whoever can, if you can bring some food with you. That way, we can have a large diversity of food from different cuisines. You don't have to bring too much because there will be a lot. So just whatever you can bring, inshallah. That would be great, bi'idhnillahi ta'ala. And Brother Mushtaba is the one in charge, so if you'd like to bring something, please sync up with Brother Mushtaba. Brother Mushtaba, can you raise your hand so that you are known? I know you're a famous man, but so that you are known. Brother Mushtaba, barakallah feek. Without further ado, inshallah, last Saturday, or actually 2 Saturdays back, we discussed the last few statements, or as you know, we discuss and we comment on this text of Aqidah At-Tahawiyyah statement by statement, and we've spent several weeks on the topic on these statements that talk about al-qadar, or our belief in the qadar of Allah Tabaraka wa Ta'ala, and we've really gone into real depth about that, as you remember, inshallah. And by the way, I do some new faces, a lot of new faces. We do have a mailing list. If you'd like to hear from us, we don't spam. We send typically on average once a week, one message a week. And we send the link to the online or live stream. So if you're interested, please write legibly your email address, inshallah. That way we can you receive updates from us. So the last week we commented on those last statements about the belief in the qadr of Allah Tabaraka wa Ta'ala. And among other things, we talked about some of the reasons why certain groups have went astray in their understanding of the qadr of Allah Tabaraka wa Ta'ala. And we said they typically are split into 2 groups. One of them who actually deny al-qadr altogether. They deny that there is qadr, they deny that Allah Azza wa Jal know about what's going to happen beforehand. And these are called al-qadariyah. Al-qadariyah, or those who deny al-qadr, as a matter of fact. And there is the other group on the opposite side, which are called al-jabriyah, which are the group of people who actually believe that we are compelled into doing what we do. So the guided is compelled into guidance, and the misguided is compelled into misguidance. And we've proved that both of them are wrong. And we said that some of the reasons why these people went wrong is because one of the reasons is that they actually compared the deeds of the humans to the deeds of Allah Azza wa Jal. Right? So they made a comparison between our concepts of justice and they compared it to Allah Azza wa Jal, and this is how they went wrong, because Allah Azza wa Jal deeds are different than the deeds of the humans, and they are not to be compared. Also, one of the reasons is that they did not differentiate between the two types of will of Allah Tabaraka wa Ta'ala. We said there are two wills: the existential will, whatever Allah Azza wa Jal wills happen, and whatever He does not happen. But there is also another type of will, which is the legislative will, or the religious will, which is to say that which Allah Azza wa Jal loves and approves of, which is everything in the Sharia, right? So we said that this is what actually explains how sometimes evil deeds happen in this universe, and Allah Azza wa Jal allows them to happen existentially, but that doesn't mean that He likes them. So He wills them kawnan, that they happen, otherwise they would not. Nobody can do something that Allah Azza wa Jal does not will to happen, but He dislikes them deenan wa shar'an. So we said any good or any evil in this universe happens by the will of Allah Azza wa Jal. The guidance of the guided, right? And the prayer of the person who prays, it's all by the will of Allah Azza wa Jal. Likewise, the disbelief of the disbeliever and the disobedient of the disobedience, even the killing unjustly, the shedding of the blood and the killing which is unjust, all of this happens by the will of Allah Azza wa Jal, who allows that to happen. But that doesn't mean that He likes it or approves of it, right? Like, we also said that one of the reasons is that they also want to understand all of the qadr of Allah Azza wa Jal and go deeper, although they don't have the knowledge of the qadr, which we said that Allah Azza wa Jal has kept as a secret, right? We, the humans, have a very limited knowledge, and we said that the qadr of Allah Azza wa Jal is first and foremost is based on the knowledge of Allah Azza wa Jal. Ilmullah, shamil, the comprehensive knowledge of Allah Tabaraka wa Ta'ala. We also talked about, and this is actually a pretty important topic that a lot of people get confused about. Remember we talked about al-idlal and al-hidayah. Remember that discussion? Very important discussion. We said that Ahlul Sunnati wal Jama'ah, we proved it, that Ahlul Sunnati wal Jama'ah believe that we have a free will. People do and choose what to do out of their free will. And we as a servant, we as a creation, we have a will, but it is under the will of Allah Azza wa Jal. And we are not compelled into doing what we do. So the person who is on guidance, he is not or she is not compelled into being guided. Nor is the one who is misguided compelled into being misguided. Yet at the same time, we said that we read in the Quran ayat similar to, for example, where Allah Azza wa Jal says, يُضِلُّ مَن يَشَاءُ وَيَهْدِي مَن يَشَاءُ. Or for example, مَن يَشَاءِ اللَّهُ يُضْلِلُ وَمَن يَشَاء يَجْعَلْهُ عَلَى صِرَاطٍ مُسْتَقِيمٍ. Allah Azza wa Jal also says, مَن يَهْدِي اللَّهُ فَهُوَ الْمُهْتَدِ وَمَن يُضْلِلْ فَلَن تَجِدَ لَهُ وَلِيًّا مُرْشِدًا. So whomsoever Allah Azza wa Jal wishes to guide is the guided. And whoever Allah Azza wa Jal misguides, you're not going to be able to find anybody who will be able to guide them. Likewise, Allah Azza wa Jal says, مَن يُضْلِلِ اللَّهُ وَمَن يُضْلِلِ اللَّهُ فَلَا هَادِيَ لَهُ وَيَذَرُهُمْ فِي طُغْيَانِهِمْ يَعْمَهُونَ. And many similar ayat, where Allah Azza wa Jal mentions the concept of al-idlal, sending somebody astray, and al-hidayah, guiding somebody. And He attached it to His mashi'ah, to His will. مَن يَشَاءِ اللَّهُ. So it is attached to the mashi'ah. Whomever Allah Azza wa Jal wills, guides. And whomever Allah Azza wa Jal wills, send astray. So Allah Azza wa Jal talks about al-idlal, sending astray, and about al-hidayah, guiding, and both of them are attached to His mashi'ah, to His will. Yet at the same time, we said that we are free. Every person has a free will to choose being guided or misguided. So how do we corroborate between these two concepts? How do we reconcile between these two concepts? Because apparently from the outside, these ayat seem to suggest that those who are guided, Allah Azza wa Jal wanted them to be guided. And those who are misguided, Allah Azza wa Jal wanted them to be misguided or compelled them into misguidance. We say that's not the case. And the way to understand this is to actually know that guidance and misguidance, there are reasons for it. And to be able to understand this concept, we have to understand that this is closely related to the concept of التوفيق والخذلان. Two concepts, التوفيق and its opposite. The opposite of التوفيق is الخذلان, which is deprivation of التوفيق. What is التوفيق and what is deprivation of التوفيق or الخذلان? By the way, we said that tawfiq is mentioned in the Quran. Remember that? Shu'aib alayhi salam, he said in the ayah of Surah Hud alayhi salam, he said, وَمَا تَوْفِيقِي إِلَّا بِاللَّهِ. My tawfiq is not except but from Allah tabaraka wa ta'ala. So what is the tawfiq and what is al-khudlan? We say tawfiqullah to the servant is Allah's help to that servant. Tawfiqullahi lil-abd, Tawfiqullahi lil-abd to the servant is Allah Azza wa Jal helping that servant. Helping the servant, pointing that servant in the right direction, helping them with the causes, opening the causes to them, to help them to go in the way of khair and of goodness. This is what we mean by the tawfiq. So you see, it is giving, Allah Azza wa Jal giving the servant something. Supplying the servant with the help and pointing them in the right direction and helping them with the causes of good, asbab al-khair. Putting them on the way of khair. So it is giving. It is something extra. That is why tawfiq is a favor and man min Allah tabaraka wa ta'ala. Karam, generosity of Allah Azza wa Jal to whomever He wishes. Al-khudlan on the opposite side, opposite of al-tawfiq is al-khudlan, which is deprivation of this help, of this tawfiq. But it is justice. Jazakallah khair. Some of you may say, brother, but wait a minute, you just said it is deprivation of help. How is that justice? Allah Azza wa Jal is depriving certain people from tawfiq, from help. How can that be a justice? I say it is a justice. Why? Because Allah Azza wa Jal created humanity and created for them attributes such as the ability to see, such as the ability to hear, such as the ability to reason, and supplied humanity with the tools to be able to do these things. For example, He supplied them with the tool to see, which is the eye. He supplied them with the tool to hear, which is the ear. He supplied them with the tool to reason with, which is the mind and the intellect. Not only that, He sent down books and He sent messengers to explain to them that which He likes and that which He disapproves of. So it's not like He did not supply them with that which should guide them. He gave them everything that they need with which they should be able to be guided. So when He deprived them of His tawfiq, which is His help, He was just with them. Those He bestowed upon them with His tawfiq, He actually gave them something extra, fadl, which is higher than justice. So there is adl and there is fadl. And fadlullah is higher than His adl. The ones who He deprived, khadhalahum, those whom Allah Azza wa Jal khadhalahum, which means that He deprived them from His tawfiq, He treated them with His justice. He treated them with His justice. Those whom He favored them with His favor, His fadl, and man and karam, generosity and tawfiq, He actually treated them at a higher level with His fadl. Like I said, because He supplied them with that which they need to be, with which they need to be guided. So, tawfiqullahi lil-abd is helping that person, he or she, and pointing them on the straight path, to the right path, in the direction of khair, and opening the door for them for khair, to do that which is khair. Those He deprived of, believe me, I promise to open the door for questions. Those whom He deprived, whomever He wished to deprive, He actually did not help them. He did not point them in the right direction, nor did He give them the reason to go in to do the khair. He led them on their own. He left them on their own. When He left them on their own, they went astray, and they were sent misguided. Because there are, like I said, there are reasons for being guided. And some of these reasons are beyond the control of the person. When they are not in the hand of the servant, they are in the hands of who? Of Allah Tabaraka wa Ta'ala. He bestow upon whomsoever by these asbab al-hidayah, asbab al-khair. And these could be in a wide range of ways and forms. Remember last time I gave you the example of a person, a Libyan person who lived in London. I know I narrated the story in like a supersonic speed, remember? Like in less than 2 minutes. If you want me, I can repeat it, inshallah, for the benefit of those who weren't with us. But I have another example to give you an idea of what are some of those ways, asbab al-khair, that Allah Azza wa Jal can put the person through. For example, the good friendship. The good friends who actually help the person to go in the right direction. I'm pretty sure all of you know the story of that person who killed 99 souls. Did anybody hear about that? You all probably. Fine. That person, can you imagine, he killed 99 souls. He went to a abid, a worshipper. He said, do you find a way for me to repent? He said, there is no way for you to repent. What happened? Allah Azza wa Jal made certain people tell him about a scholar, alim. So he went to him. Before there, he actually, when that abid, worshipper, he told him, there's no way for your guidance, he killed him and made him the 100th soul. People told him about a scholar. They said, go to him and he will help you. Who made that easy for that person? Who made these people tell him about this alim? Allah Azza wa Jalla. So this is sabab khair. This is a help from Allah Azza wa Jalla. Tawfiq min Allah for that person to be guided to that person, to that scholar, to go to him and to ask him, is there any chance for me for forgiveness? He said, absolutely. Who owns this door of guidance other than Allah Azza wa Jal? It belongs to Allah Azza wa Jal. Nobody can shut it down in your face. He said, absolutely. Go to that village whose people are good people. Immigrate from your village where you used to live, whose people are evil and wrongdoers. Leave it and go to this other village whose people are good people and they will help you. And so he migrated, and in the middle of the way, as he was leaving in transit to that village whose residents are good people, his soul was taken. And Allah Azza wa Jal أوحى, الوحي reveals, he revealed to the angels of rahmah, of mercy, to actually shift the earth so that he is closer, a little, by an inch closer to the village of good doers. And so they took his soul. Yani he accepted his repentance. Who guided him and helped him? Allah Azza wa Jal. Imagine for a second, ya ibadallah, if that person was not led to that scholar, what would have happened? He would have stayed on his misguidance. So this is what I mean by asbab al-khair and al-hidayah. And this was in the hands of Allah Azza wa Jal. Had he not met these people who led him to that scholar, maybe he would have never get guided. Right? He would have stayed on the misguidance. And also I gave you that story from last week. If you wish, do you want me to repeat it really quick? Okay. I think I see some people approving of repeating it. Real quick, inshallah. This is a story that I heard from a prominent sheikh, mashallah. He said the person who went through this story, he is the one who narrated it for him. This is a Libyan young person who used to live with his mother and his siblings in London. They migrated to London. And he was on a terrible misguidance. He was completely out of it. No prayer, no iman, nothing whatsoever, right? And his mother was a very righteous person. And she tried all she can to get her son on the right path. And she failed. He said, one day I happened to be in a cafeteria. And I met a Saudi person who was vacationing in London. And he brought with him those books of al-adhkar. You know this orange color. Orange. It's very famous, right? Imam by Sheikh al-Tahtani, barakallahu fi, which has a lot of the adhkar of Sunnah, mutahhar. He took one from his pocket and he said, here's for you. The narrator of the story, the Libyan person, he said, Wallahi, only shyness. Had it not been for shyness, I felt shy from the brother, I would have refused to take the book. He said, I didn't even know how to make wudu at the time, let alone praying. So what would I do with Kitab al-Adhkar? I have no need for it. But out of shyness, I just took it. And I went back home and I threw it under the closet. I have no need for it. And years went by. He said, one night I came back home and I went to sleep. I couldn't sleep. I tried so much to sleep. I couldn't sleep. So I got up and I went to the living room and I turned the TV and I cycled through the channel list. One channel after another. I didn't like any one of them. I went back to sleep. I couldn't. He tried the TVs again and again. Nothing worked. He didn't like anything. And then he remembered, he said, all of a sudden I remembered that book. So I reached deep under the closet and I retrieved that book and I started reading in it. He said, all of a sudden I felt something completely different. He said, I felt I am a different person, 180 degrees. And he started to shed tears. And he couldn't have enough of that book. He said, I kept reading through it and make dua to Allah Azza wa Jal until Fajr. When I heard my mother woke up, he went to her and he said, Mother, Ya Ummah, teach me how to make wudu. She got shocked. Like, what? After years and years of trying with you, he's like, teach me how to make wudu. He made wudu and he went to pray Fajr. He said, from that day, my life completely shifted 180 degrees. He said, not only was I guided, but Allah Azza wa Jal used me to guide others. He said, from that day, I started to go in the streets of London and would stop people as they are walking down the street, and I would ask them, do you know where the closest masjid? And they would ask him, what is masjid? He said, oh, you don't know what the masjid is? This is where the place where Muslims pray, and Muslims pray 5 times a day, and Muslims do this and that, and they keep and start preaching to them. He said, so many people entered Islam on my hands. Look at that person, how he was and what he became. That book, remember that book? And that Saudi person whom he met, who made that sabab easy for that person? It wasn't in his hand to meet that person. Who arranged for that? Allah tabaraka wa ta'ala. This is tawfiqullah tabaraka wa ta'ala and helping the person to get guided. This is sabab to make the person go in the right direction. Sabab to go in the right person. طيب, this helping the person, helping the servant, and opening those doors of khair to him is by the will of Allah Azza wa Jal. He opened those for whomever He wishes, and He deprives whomever He wishes from them. Right? So this is how it is connected to al-idlal, sending astray, and the guidance. He opens the door to whomever He wishes, and this is how He guides them. This is what it means. He guides whomever He wishes. And He deprives certain people from that, from His tawfiq, and which is His help, and opening the door for them. This is what it means. He sends whomever He wishes astray. So, when we say whomever Allah Azza wa Jal wishes to send astray, it means whomever Allah wishes to deprive from His tawfiq, which is deprivation from His help. And whomever He wishes, yahdi man yasha, it means that He bestows His favor and His tawfiq upon whomever He wishes, subhanahu wa ta'ala. We said that sending astray whomever He wishes is justice. And bestowing His tawfiq upon whomever He wishes, which is His guidance upon whomever He wishes, is His fadl. And that is why, ya ikhwan, brothers and sisters, wallahi, the tawfiq of Allah Azza wa Jal, and His help, and His man upon His servant is the single greatest ni'mah of Allah Azza wa Jal upon His servant. أعظم نعمة ينعمها الله على عبده نعمة التوفيق, which is in reality is نعمة الهداية. And that is why المؤمنون are the ones whom Allah Azza wa Jal bestowed upon them نعمة التوفيق ونعمة الهداية. He made it beloved to them guidance. He made beloved to them doing the good. He made it beloved to them fighting their evil desires. He made it beloved to them to learn the beneficial knowledge. And this is how He guided them. It is the single greatest fadl. Now some of you may ask, how is it decided that He bestow His favor upon whomever He wishes and deprive from His favor whomever He wishes? How it is decided that يوفق من يشاء ويخذل من يشاء? How is it decided? We say that it is based on Allah Azza wa Jal knowledge of who deserves His fadl and who deserves His adl only. Who deserves His justice only and who deserves His fadl, which is higher than His adl. And Allah Azza wa Jal knows best where to put His fadl and where to put His adl. You may say, but I cannot understand why this person is receiving his fadl and why that person is receiving his adl. I say, even if you don't understand it, know for a fact, which are the building block of our belief in the qadr of Allah Azza wa Jal, that Allah Azza wa Jal does not oppress any person. وَلَا يَظْلِمُ رَبُّكَ أَحَدًا. Not only that, He actually forbid dhulm upon Himself. يَا عِبَادِ إِنِّي حَرَّمْتُ الظُّلْمَ عَلَى نَفْسِي وَجَعَلْتُهُ بَيْنَكُمْ مُحَرَّمًا. Allah Azza wa Jal forbade the dhulm upon Himself. So know for a fact that He does not oppress any person, does not treat any person unjustly. Right? Second, Allah Azza wa Jal knows best. And He is the most wise. So He knows who deserves His fadl, where to put His fadl, and He knows who deserves His justice and where to put His justice. I want to open the door now to questions. I know this is a very complicated topic. Some people get confused a lot. I want to open the door now for questions. Who has a question? I know Brother Javid. Now, can you give the mic to Brother Javid? Salam.
I want to go back to the statement that you said that some people get the benefits.
It works. No, this is only for the street. Yes.
Some people get the tawfiq from Allah. Some people don't get the tawfiq.
No.
And then you said that before the tawfiq, a person revealed, God revealed him with all the ishara, for like the books, Nabi, and the Nabi
So the brother Javid is asking how we said that the adl of Allah Azza wa Jal is that He supplied every human being with the tools with which they could actually be able to get guided. And we said there are books that were sent down and messengers who were sent to guide people. And then we said that Allah Azza wa Jal deprived those who were sent astray from His tawfiq, right? So how are they able to get guided without His tawfiq in the first place? Is that your question? Fine. We said Allah Azza wa Jal knows where to put His justice and where to put His tawfiq and His fadl. Right. Allah Azza wa Jal knows that these people are interested in being guided. Yani when we say that Allah Azza wa Jal knows where to put His fadl, who deserves His fadl, it means He knows that who will actually benefit from His fadl, who is interested in being guided. So He bestowed upon them His tawfiq, and so that they can see that which is righteous as righteous and that which is haq as haq. Those whom Allah Azza wa Jal knows who are not interested in being guided. They are not worthy of His tawfiq. That is why He deprived them of His tawfiq. Which means that even if He gave them the asbab al-hidayah, they're not going to benefit from it. They're not interested in it. Like Allah Azza wa Jal says in the Quran, even if those evildoers on the day of judgment, they will ask Allah Azza wa Jal, send us back to life and we will do different. And He said, no, you are liars. Even if we send you back to life, you will redo exactly the evil that you did in the first place. You're going to redo exactly the same thing. It's not going to benefit you. So Allah Azza wa Jal knows who will benefit, who will be guided with His fadl and His guidance, who is interested. That is why, Brother Javid, we say that guidance is 3 steps. 3 steps. The first and the last is from Allah Azza wa Jal, from the person, from the person. And the second one is from Allah Azza wa Jal. The first step is that the person is interested in being guided. If the person is interested in being guided, Allah Azza wa Jal knows that the person is interested in being guided, Allah Azza wa Jal guide them. When He guides them, they get guided and they accept that guidance. If they are not interested in guidance, Allah Azza wa Jal deprive them from His guidance, from His tawfiq, because He knows that they are not worthy of His tawfiq. And they're not going to benefit from it. And we trust in the knowledge of Allah Azza wa Jal. We trust in the adl of Allah Azza wa Jal, of the justice of Allah Azza wa Jal. And we trust in the mercy of Allah Azza wa Jal and His wisdom. Tafadhal.
So that's the free will you're talking about?
Yes. Free will.
Yeah, it's the free will.
Now.
Allah gave us the free will.
Yes.
The middle point is the free will.
Free will.
Interested.
I'm sorry?
You are interested to get the knowledge of it.
You are interested in being guided. So you choose that road.
Okay.
Yes. If you're interested in guidance, Allah Azza wa Jal will help you. That is why, let me finish this discussion by this, Ya Ibadallah. Because this is, I think, what will actually eliminate any doubt. I have absolutely no doubt. Wallahi alladhi la ilaha illahu. There is not a single person, there is not a one son of Adam who is interested in guidance, but Allah Azza wa Jal will help him or her in being guided. And those who are not interested in being guidance, Allah Azza wa Jal treat them with His adl, justice, and deprive them of His tawfiq, leave them on their own. And when He left them on their own, they will go astray because they were not interested. If they were interested, Allah Azza wa Jal, rest assured, beyond the hint of doubt, that He would have helped them. Allah Azza wa Jal does not, never, ever let down any person interested in guidance, and He would let him down. Never. Any person whom Allah Azza wa Jal knows is interested in guidance, he chooses to be guided, but Allah will bestow upon him His tawfiq and help, and open the door of khair for him. Absolutely. No doubt about that. He never, subhanahu wa ta'ala, let down any person who is interested in guidance. But those who are not, they choose. لِمَنْ شَاءَ مِنْكُمْ أَنْ يَسْتَقِيمُ. For whoever among you wants to be on the straight path. Those who want, Allah Azza wa Jal will help them. Those who do not, He left them on their own. He let them down. He leaves them to their own. And that is why from the dua that we keep asking Allah Azza wa Jal, Allahumma la takilna ila anfusina tarfat ayn. Don't let us down. Don't leave us to our own or on our own, not even for the blink of the eye. Because if he does, we will go astray. Clear? No. So ya akhwan, this is something that you should always remember. Allah never ever lets down any person who is interested in guidance. Clear? Alhamdulillah. Other questions? Tfaddal. Microphone. Yeah, you're fine.
If we go through Quran, there are 2-3 places, at least 2 I'm sure, where imaniyat have been mentioned in all 5 components.
No.
Like, وَلَكِنَّ الْبِرَّ مَنْ آمَنَ بِاللَّهِ وَالْيَوْمِ الْآخِرِ
No.
وَالْمَلَائِكَةِ وَالْكِتَابِ وَالنَّبِيِّينَ. There is one place, another is Surah Al-Nisa, ayat 136. At least these 2 I know. And many places different
No.
components. 5 together, at least 2 places. In Hadith, we see the 6th part, which is your topic, Iman bil Qadr,
No.
Khairihi, Sharrihi.
No.
So why is this not mentioned in Quran as?
القدر?
Yeah.
It is. وكان أمر الله قدرا مقدورا إن كل شيء خلقناه بقدر. Everything we created with a divine pre-decree. Everything. Allah Azza wa Jal decreed everything, the minor details to the greatest details of everything that will happen, everything that will come into existence, what everybody will do, and the non-living creatures, what will come into existence and what will happen to them and how long they will actually be in existence and when they will go away, for example, planets and stars and etc. He actually decreed that and wrote that 50,000 years before he created the sky and the earth. So the Qadr is definitely mentioned in the Quran. Absolutely. Not only in the hadith of the Prophet ﷺ, but also in the Quran, multiple times. إِنَّا كُلَّ شَيْءٍ خَلَقْنَاهُ بِقَدَرٍ. Everything that we created was according to the Qadr of Allah Azza wa Jal. Everything is muqaddar. Everything. This is actually the basic belief in the Qadr. What is sufficient for the believer to believe with respect to al-Qadr, what is sufficient, which is the minimum level. Now, those who know more, and this is part of what we've been discussing, which is above and beyond. And the more you know, the higher you are in the level of Iman with respect to the Qadr. But the minimum level for the person to be a Muslim is to believe that everything that happens in this universe is according to the Qadr. It does not happen like this haphazardly, without a pre-decree, but rather it is based on the decree of Allah Azza wa Jal, which is that He knew about it, He wrote it, and He willed it to happen, and He created it into existence. القدر مذكور في القرآن. Absolutely.
Yeah, I know. For example, سبح اسم ربك الأعلى الذي خلق
فسوى والذي قدر فهدى.
I know.
طيب.
You also mentioned that.
No.
But I was saying when the list of imaniyat is mentioned, 5 are mentioned in Quran.
Allah Azza wa Jal chooses how to mention things. Allah a'lam. He knows better how to mention it and what is the best way to mention it. But the point is that it is mentioned in multiple times in the Quran. And that is sufficient, inshallah. Right. Any other questions? Tfaddal. You're fine. This is only for the stream, barakallah fikum. This is not, I'll repeat the question. No. But you have to raise your voice, barakallah fikum. Salam rahmatullah.
That is the case, then does Allah has given
I think your question has two parts. So there is the part that if Allah Azza wa Jal decreed that this person will be, for example, from the good doers and that person from the evil doers, right? That's part one. And then part two, that the dua changes the qadar, right? That second part, I'm going to delay the answer to that because this is something that we're going to talk about next. So we'll discuss that. But I want to address the first one. Ya Ikhwan, a lot of people, by the way, misunderstand what we mean when we say Allah Azza wa Jal qaddar for that person to be such and that person to be such and such. And this is why it is so important to understand what the meaning of al-qadar. And this is, by the way, something we actually already discussed, but I know you weren't here. Very quickly, when we say for Ahlus Sunnati wal Jama'ah, believe in the qadar, it means four things. First one, when we say, I believe in the qadar, yani I believe in the knowledge of Allah Azza wa Jal of what will happen. The comprehensive knowledge of everything, which is a knowledge that covers everything, that was not preceded by lack of knowledge. This is a knowledge that Allah Azza wa Jal had since ever and will have forever. He always knew what will come into existence and what people will do. This is what the first thing, what we mean by I believe in the qadar. Yani I believe in ilmullah, knowledge of Allah Azza wa Jal. The second part of it is that He wrote that knowledge, He created the pen, and He ordered it to write all of this qadar in al-Lawh al-Mahfuz, which is the book that is with Him subhanahu wa ta'ala. The third component, or the third thing, I believe in the qadar, it means that I believe that everything that comes into existence does so by the will of Allah Azza wa Jal. Whatever Allah Azza wa Jal wills happen, and whatever Allah Azza wa Jal does not will, does not happen. That includes everything. The belief of the believer and the disbelief of the disbeliever. The good deed of the good doer and the evil deed of the evil doer. Everything that happens in this universe, when it happens, the fact that it happened, it means that Allah Azza wa Jal willed it to happen. Doesn't necessarily mean that He loves it or likes that deed. Because obviously the evil deeds, Allah Azza wa Jal disapprove of them. Yet He allows the disobedient to disobey and the killer to kill unjustly. Why? Because there is a wisdom behind that. And there is a recompense. And this is why He created us, to test us. And then we will have to answer to that on the Day of Judgment. So He allows the good deeds to happen and He likes them, and He allows the evil deeds or the bad deeds to happen, but He dislikes them. That is why we said there are two types of will. There is the existential will, which is what Allah Azza wa Jal allows to happen to begin with in this universe or not. And there is the religious will, which is what He approves of, right? Which is the set of Sharia. And Allah Azza wa Jal told us that He dislikes several things, right? وَلَا يَرْضَى لِعِبَادِهِ الْكُفْرِ. And He disapproves of disbelief to His servants. He dislikes it. وَاللَّهُ لَا يُحِبُّ الْفَسَادِ. Allah does not like corruption. Yet corruption happens. He allows certain people to corrupt in this universe, right? That is why, because they're going to be brought into questioning. The last component, so these are three. Remember what they are? Knowledge, writing, will of Allah Azza wa Jal. Whatever Allah Azza wa Jal will happens, and whatever He does not will does not happen. The last thing is His creation, creating everything. When He wills something to happen, He creates it and brings it into existence. Like He created us, like He created all this universe, He creates our deeds as well. Yani He creates the good deeds and the evil deeds for us. We choose. The good doer chooses to do a good deed and he brings it into existence if He allowed them to do it. And the evil doer, when they choose to do that, He creates that for them, and they are responsible and accountable for it. So when we say that Allah Azza wa Jal created humanity and He knows what every person, or He decreed for every person what they will do, it means that He knew what they will do and wrote it upon them because He knows what they're going to choose. And He allowed them to do that, and He creates it for them. There is no compulsion in that. He does not compel any person into doing anything, guidance or misguidance. He just knew what they're going to do, and He decreed that beforehand. And that is why you see that on the day of judgment, He doesn't judge us based on His decree, on His knowledge, but rather He judges us based on what we do actually. That's why He created us, and we do the deeds that we do. And on the day of judgment, He will judge us based on our book of deeds that we did, not based on what He knew we were going to do. You see the difference? There's a big difference between Allah's knowledge and between our deeds that we chose to do in this life. Because I can tell you, brother, if He did not create us, He could have just not created us in the first place and just brought us into on the day of resurrection and said to us that I know that you're going to do this and you're going to do that, and I will I'll hold you accountable for that. Then we will have an argument and we say, but oh Lord, I didn't actually do it. You say that you knew I'm going to do that, but I didn't actually do it. So Allah Azza wa Jal created us, and we do the deeds that we do based on our free will, and this is what Allah Azza wa Jal will bring us to account for. Our own deeds, not what on He decreed and knew what we will do. You see the difference? Does that answer the first part of your question? Alhamdulillah. The second part is, inshallah, like I said, coming next. Because the next thing is, we said part of the decree of Allah Azza wa Jal, or part of what we believe in the decree of Allah Azza wa Jal, is we believe in the writing, kitab. Allah Azza wa Jal wrote His decree, right, in the book and in other shapes and forms. So we say al-kitaba is of 5 different forms. There are 5 different forms of writing. The first one, which is the greatest one and the most comprehensive one, and the most preceding one, yani the oldest one, is the writing in al-Lawh al-Mahfuz. Lawh al-Mahfuz, which Allah Azza wa Jal created, that when Allah Azza wa Jal created the pen and ordered it to write all the qadar in it. Right? And this happens, as we know, from all the maqadir of the creation, everything that will come into existence, as we know from the hadith of the Prophet ﷺ, that happened 50,000 years before Allah Azza wa Jal created the skies and the earth. This is the first form of writing. And like I said, this is actually the first one, the oldest one, and the greatest one, and the master of all the different types of writings. This writing, ya ibadallah, does not ever change. Does not ever change, and will always prove accurate. That's the first one. Second is the writing that we learned about earlier in this Aqidah, when Imam Abu Ja'far talked about al-Mithaq. Remember al-Mithaq, which is the covenant that Allah Azza wa Jal took upon the son of Adam. Remember? وَالْمِيثَاقُ حَقٌّ. Remember when he said in that statement? We said what he was referring to is that we believe, and Rasulullah ﷺ told us about that Allah Azza wa Jal, after He created Adam, before He created his descendants, before we all came into existence, He created Adam and He extracted his descendants, all of them until the hour. He extracted them and brought them into existence from his back, from the back of Adam, in the shape of ants. And He took the covenant from them. Am I not your Lord? And we all gave that covenant and we said, yes, you are our Lord. And we gave the covenant that we shall not associate with Him any partners. Now, like I said, we don't remember that, but it happened. Part of that hadith, Rasulullah ﷺ told us that Allah Azza wa Jal separated the descendants of Adam into 2 groups. And He said, this group belonged to Jannah, and that group belonged to hellfire. This is the second type of writing. This is also proceeding to actually bringing the descendants into existence. This only applies to the living creatures, obviously, al-mukallafin, son of Adam, right? And it is before we were created. But it is after al-Lawh al-Mahfuz, the writing in al-Lawh al-Mahfuz. This also does not change. This is the second type of writing. The third one is we call at-Taqdir al-Umri, from al-Umr, lifespan. Umr, right? And this is when we said, and we actually talked about it multiple times in the past, we said this happens when Allah Azza wa Jal sent the angel when we are still an unborn baby in the womb of our mothers. When it is the 42nd night, Allah Azza wa Jal sent the angel and he writes the 4 matters, whether it's a boy or a girl, and what their lifespan, how long they're going to live, and what their rizq is, and whether they're going to be happy or unhappy, but based on, with respect to the ending of their life. Whether they're going to end up being happy or unhappy. This writing is the 3rd type of writing, and also this does not change. So this is actually specific to that particular person, and is taken from a Lawh al-Mahfuz, specific to one person. Because as you can tell, in the Lawh al-Mahfuz, it covers everything and everybody, living and non-living creatures. Everything is mentioned in the Lawh al-Mahfuz. This writing where Allah Azza wa Jal reveals to the angel those things at the 42nd night is specific to that particular person. The 4th type of writing, is, we call it At-Taqdeer Al-Sanawi, the yearly taqdeer, which is the taqdeer that gets revealed to the angel on the night of Al-Qadr. When Allah Azza wa Jal, on a yearly basis, every year, on the night of Al-Qadr, Allah Azza wa Jal reveals what will happen to every person, what they will encounter, what they will do, what happened to them during that year. He reveals on that night, Al-Qadr, and this is what Allah Azza wa Jal says, Hamim wal kitab al-mubin, inna anzalnahu fi laylatin mubarakah, inna kunna mundhirin, fiha yufraqu kullu amrin hakim. This Amr al-Hakim is the Qadr that covers that year. So for the next year, for the period of the coming year, Allah Azza wa Jal reveals to the angel what will happen to that person in that year. The 5th type of writing is Al-Taqdeer Al-Yawmi, the daily taqdeer. This is the writing that happens on a daily basis. And this is what the scholars have said. This is based on Allah Azza wa Jal saying in Surah Al-Rahman, كُلَّ يَوْمٍ هُوَ فِي شَأْنٍ. Every day He has a matter to bring forth. And this is what Allah Azza wa Jal reveals on a daily basis to the angels. This is when we come to your second part of your question. But we also know from the hadith, from the multiple ahadith of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. For example, al-hadith which is in Sahih al-Bukhari and Sahih Muslim, hadith Anas, where Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, whoever likes for his rizq to be expanded and for his lifespan to be lengthened, right, or to live a longer life, let him maintain his ties of kinship. This tells us that maintaining ties of kinship increase the rizq of the person and lengthen their lifespan. So there are reasons that actually affect that. In another hadith, on the other hand, for example, this hadith is in Sunan Ibn Majah and Musnad al-Imam Ahmad, where he said, إِنَّ الْعَبْدَ لَيُحْرَمُ الرِّزْقَ بِالذَّنْبِ يُصِيبُ. That a person, the servant, can be deprived from certain rizq due to a sin that he commits. So sinning is a reason to be deprived from certain rizq. And likewise, doing good deeds is actually a reason for expanded rizq. So we see that these are reasons that actually affect the rizq and affect the lifespan, right? So how do we now also reconcile between these two or these different evidences from the book of Allah Azza wa Jal and from the Sunnah of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam? We say that the first 3 types of writing do not change ever. That is the Lawh al-Mahfuz, al-Mithaq, and al-Taqdeer al-Umri, which is at the 42nd night. These never change. What changes? The latter 2, which is al-Taqdeer al-Sanawi, the yearly taqdeer that happens on the night of al-Qadr, and the one that happens on a daily basis. The scholars have said what this means. When Allah Azza wa Jal reveals what will happen for the following year, or what happens in a day, it is revealed in a contingent way. Yeah. Allah Azza wa Jal reveals to the angel, if that person maintains his ties of kinship, then he will live, for example, 2 extra years. If he doesn't, then he will actually die at this time. If he makes dua, he will be given this extra rizq. If he doesn't make this dua, he will not be receiving that extra rizq. The angel does not know what that person will do. The angel does not know what the person will do. But he knows if he does, then this happens. If he doesn't, then this happens. Allah Azza wa Jal knows. And it is known in the Lawh al-Mahfuz what will happen and what they will choose. But the angel does not. And this is how we explain these different ahadith. And this is also how we explain the dua of Umar ibn al-Khattab radiyallahu anhu when he used to say, Allahumma in kunta katabtani shaqiyan faktubni sa'ida. Oh Allah, if you wrote me unhappy, then write me happy. Where? In the books of the angels that are revealed on a yearly basis. Because they are contingent. So he is making dua. So if I am written as unhappy for this coming year, then I am making dua, oh Allah, write me as happy. Because that can change in the book of the angels. Naam.
That doesn't change at all.
Doesn't change.
So let's say Allah has ordained someone that some person will live 100 years.
Naam.
Now, based on the last 2, the yearly basis that changes. So if the person says, oh Allah, please give me more time, does that happen that Allah might give him another year, so make it a 101? But it's already ordained that this person is going to only live 100 years. So that dua for another extra year doesn't make the difference now.
What is written in the Lawh al-Mahfuz is that they will make the dua and they will live 101 years. Based on your example. So that based on the example that you said, Allah Azza wa Jal knows that he will make dua or not. If he knows that he will make dua, it is written, ordained that that person will live 101 years. What is revealed to the angel in the yearly qadr is that if they make dua, then they will receive 1 extra year. If they don't, they will die at the 100 years. Now, any other questions?
I have a comment
Tafadhal.
just to add to what you said.
Now,
I was a teacher, so I knew certain students were going to get F grade.
F grade?
Yeah.
Okay. Failing.
Yeah.
Now,
And they failed due
Yeah.
to their performance, not
Yes.
because it was known to me or I did it.
okay.
So they are responsible for their deeds, but my knowledge does not make me responsible for their F grade.
Now,
So that is an analogy
yes, it does not. Now,
to just add.
you could tell, typically teachers, now F is a failing, not fantastic. As some students say that this is fantastic. Okay, exactly. So the teacher typically they know. Okay, the student will pass, the student will fail. Ahsan. That's a good example. Barakallah feek. Any other question? Isha is 9:30. Okay. Right. In the next, or I think I'll just keep the door open for questions because I don't think we have time. The last few statements that we want to cover before Ramadan are actually very easy, inshallah. Any other question? No more question?
Can you explain regarding 15th Shaban something about because Monday is coming, people are wrong.
15 Shaban.
Just few minutes.
Ya akhi, you always ask tricky questions. I don't know why.
Sorry about that.
Now, so something very quick, inshallah. Brother Ammar, barakallah fi, reminded me to remind you that obviously today is the 12th of Sha'ban, and as you know that it has been the sunnah of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam that he used to fast the 12 and the 13, the 14, and the 15 of each month. So this would be tomorrow, after tomorrow, and the one after. So inshallah, if you can, consider fasting, inshallah. Second, with respect to Sha'ban. Ya Akhwan, a lot of people observe the night of the middle of Sha'ban. But I can tell you, transparently and frankly, there is absolutely no authentic report from the Sunnah of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam that attributes any virtue other than any other day to the night of the 15th of Sha'ban. There is absolutely nothing. So people celebrate and people do all kind of things. We'd ask them, where's the proof to that? We'll celebrate it if you supply us with. Wallahi, we will do. But there's absolutely nothing in the Sunnah. The only report that is authentic, that is sahih, that apply to Sha'ban is that he alayhi salatu wassalam used to fast a lot during the month of Sha'ban. As a matter of fact, to the effect that al-Mu'minin Aisha radiyallahu anha wa ardaha, she used to say that I've never seen Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam fast more often and more frequently in any month other than the month of Sha'ban after Ramadan. She would say that he would keep fasting during the month of Sha'ban until we say he will not break fast. Right? He will actually make it with Ramadan. And he will keep fasting and then connect with Ramadan. And then he would actually break some fast in some days. So he used to fast the most during the month of Sha'ban. This is the only thing that is authentic from the Prophet ﷺ. And this is what I encourage myself and yourself to do. Do as much from the fasting during the month of Sha'ban. This is actually a way of preparing for the month of Ramadan. A lot of people, they actually feel so tired and they have such a headache on the first few days of the month of Ramadan because they're not used to fasting, right? It's not an easy ibadah. So it takes a toll on them. Fast beforehand and you will train your body and you will hit the ground running from day one of Ramadan. Because the time goes like this. There's no time to get used to it and to get ready for the fasting. Some people, by the time they get trained to it, it's already 1 week or 2 weeks past of Ramadan. So what's left? Train beforehand. وَفَّقَنِ اللَّهُ وَإِيَّاكُمْ لِكُلِّ خَيْرٍ. And may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala keep bestowing upon us His fadl and man and ni'mah of tawfiq and help and tasdeed. إِنَّهُ وَلِيُّ ذَلِكَ والقادر عليه. اللهم اهدنا فيمن هديت وعافنا فيمن عافيت وتولنا فيمن توليت واجعلنا هداة مهتدين غير ضالين ولا مضلين. هذا والله أعلم وصلى الله وسلم وبارك على نبينا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه ومن اهتدى بهداه إلى يوم الدين. والسلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته. في موجود هنا صحيح
يمكن هذا نطلع على متفق أهل الحديث.
نعم
صحيح هذا الحديث صح؟
أنا أظن أنه صحيح. نعم هذا فاتني صحيح. نعم.
حي على الصلاة
السماء